Well, what is going on, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Tyler's Real Fishing. I'm out here today with Carson once again, and I decided, you know what, I'm gonna have him explain kind of how he caught his fish. Now, if you guys missed the last video of him and I whacking some toads on jigs and heavy current, make sure you guys click the link up here in the corner. But I kind of wanted to have him explain, as he's the pro out here, kind of the ways that he goes about catching fish in river situations with current, and that can also apply to any sort of lake with current, or pond with current, or creek with current, anything you guys have that you guys are flipping jigs and heavy stuff up in this cover. And so I kind of want to shoot it over to him for him to explain how I caught fish like this. Big one. Gosh, reel, Tyler, reel. Edible? Yeah, I think so. Yep. You ready? Yep. Yes! Woo! Oh, that reeling form was absolutely horrible. That's all right. But that's a 5-pounder. That's a 5. Let's go! Let's go! Oh man, this is a stud. Oh, it has been a long time since I've had a good bite, man. I'm telling you. I'm telling you, it's been a while. It's a good one. God, that thing's fat. Oh, beauty, 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 guys. Awesome. All right, 5-pounder. Thanks for coming out to play. Really appreciate it. Woohoo! So, when we're fishing this current out here, it's pretty steady flowing. So what I want to do when I'm fishing this jig, I got constant current coming in and pushing into my line, picking up my jig, and it's bringing it down towards me. So basically all I'm doing, I'm keeping the rod tip up, and then the only time I'm really using the reel is to pick up the slack, just enough till I can get the bow out of the line where it's a kind of a controlled bow. And a lot of these fish, a lot of times they'll hit it instantly. As soon as you draw it off the bank, you got to catch that slack real quick once you know you're on the bottom, because that's when they bite it. These fish see it instantly and they'll get on it. So if I'm sitting here and I pull it up like that and then I drop down, I have all this slack now on my line. Nothing's gonna trigger that bite through there. You want to get a nice, basically this is the telephone line to the fish. If it's too flimsy and there's too much slack in there, it's never going to transmit my call to them. Basically, if it's nice and tight, like the string, you'll feel every bite of that. As soon as they touch it, I can feel myself coming over sand, rock, mud, stumps, brush piles, grass. You should feel just about everything you need to if you keep it nice and tight. Especially fishing the current, you gotta get it past a lot of these brush piles before it sucks under the brush piles, because then you'll get hung up. If you let it sit out there too long, any big pile that's sitting there, it actually drift down in there and it'll get stuck. So I want to keep my rod tip up and keep the slack out of the line. That way, as soon as I feel a piece of cover, I want to quickly get it up and over and let it drop back down. That way, if a fish is sitting behind there, he'll probably eat it. Yeah, so basically all I'm looking for here is when we're fishing like this little creek mouth, the main river is it's pushing straight through here, and it wants to continue down just outside here. You got a big creek mouth coming in here where it feeds in. This is called Dry Creek. And right now we're kind of focusing on these little backwater pockets that are real dead calm. You can almost see the water if you zoom in real close to these bubbles. They're getting pulled like back upstream, and so those fish, they know a lot of bait will come down and it'll get circled around back there, and it's a lot easier for those fish to sit somewhere here in the slack water. They don't have to work as hard, and it's still bringing bait basically to them as like a conveyor belt. Another thing we're looking for is any kind of major swirls out in the water, indicating any kind of brush pile or rock pile. There's so much brush out here. Whenever we get big floods, it litters it all through the river. So just trying to really focus on, not just this area in itself, but trying to find like exact pieces in here within the good stuff. And that's kind of where our key bites are coming from. You know, if you're pulling around the bottom and it's real smooth and you're not feeling anything, sometimes I'll drop my rod tip and I'll just sweep it till I feel that cover that's, you know, in the area we're fishing, and then I'll return back with my rod tip up, and once I bring it over that cover, a lot of times it's when they're eating the jig. So this is actually a 1/2 ounce Strike King with a big bite crawl on the back, green pumpkin. Nothing special. You could throw any color you want out here. It's basically just confidence is key, and I like purple. It's cloudy out, so it gives us a good silhouette in the water and they can see it real easy. So with a lot of current out here, if you're throwing light tackle, you really need to be focusing on real steady waters off the main current path. That way the bait has time to drop. I like to fish a little bit heavier current, so I throw, this is a 1/2 ounce jig. A lot of times I'll throw a 3/4 ounce jig, which will get me through that current quicker. If you throw a light jig out into fast moving water, it's gonna pick it up and it's gonna take it down. The fish are down there on the bottom because they can get under any kind of big piece of cover that's on the bottom, and that current will basically break around them or break over them. So what I want to do with this jig is beef up the weight of it. That way I can penetrate really quick through the current. That way it doesn't get messed with as much. And as soon as it gets on the bottom, I want to click my reel over and then just kind of slowly hop it down there. And 3 or 4 seconds on the bottom, if they don't hit it, I'll pull it back up and I'll make another pitch. And you can be real effective with a heavier weight out here because you're getting to the bottom a lot quicker than, say, if you're throwing a 1/4 ounce or like a little bitsy flip jig, which those definitely have their time and place. But for out here, you're so much more effective with a heavier jig, and you can move around a lot faster and basically power fish it and get more casts in, which means more fish, and that's what we're looking for.
So hopefully you guys learned a thing or two about fishing in current, and basically it's one of my favorite things to do, to come out here on the river when there's almost nobody out here. We haven't seen a single other boat. We saw one crazy guy at the ramp, but that's the only people we saw out here on this cold springtime day. But I kind of wanted to explain the gear. Now he explained kind of the 1/2 ounce to 3/4 ounce jig. I love throwing this on a 7.4 Lose. I believe it's the custom speed stick light rod with the brand new Super Duty reel. And of course you saw we had the little Strike King. What is the structure jig? The Denny Brower structure jig. You guys know Denny Brower. He catches some big old bass. But that's kind of the setups we're using today. And again, if you guys have any questions, I'm sure I will shoot them over to Carson for him to answer in the comment section. But thank you guys so much for watching. It's been a pleasure for me to teach you guys how to catch more fish when you guys go out in the water. And we'll see you next time.